What is up? Today we're going over the 5 common dumbbell reverse lunge mistakes and how to fix them. So let's get into it. So guys, to avoid these common mistakes, I'm going to give you 5 fundamentals that you should be applying to all of your exercises to make that exercise that much more efficient. So to start off with, common mistake number 1 is the setup. Setting up reverse dumbbell lunges or any dumbbell lunge, a very common mistake is what I call the tightrope. Standing up with their feet so close together that when you start the actual movement, we're so close when we're off with our balance, and right from the get-go, we already have a hard time doing this exercise. You hate it and never do it again. You want to avoid that. So we want to be in a position where we are in a natural stance as if we were walking. So to do an easy test, just similar to the deadlifts and finding your foot positioning, just literally go for a walk. Don't change anything at all. If you gotta pull yourself in a circle, you go right ahead. So the crotch being in the middle of my body, when I walk, my knees and feet don't cross other sides, unless you're doing some kind of fashion and you're not. So very simple, how you walk, the distance between your feet is how you should stand when you start your lunge. Now, another common mistake with our setup is how we're holding the dumbbells. Sometimes the dumbbells aren't at the side of our body. They're in the front. And then we go to perform the lunge, we're trying to avoid dumbbell to dumbbell to dumbbell, when we just want to have it naturally right outside of our body while having our shoulders back and away from our ears. And we're naturally just like this. So when I go to do the first rep, I'm in a good positioning that I'm not ducking and dodging the weights. Okay, so now that we have our setup right, getting into the actual lunge form is one of the obvious biggest mistakes. And within that form, here are some common mistakes when we do a reverse lunge. We have the step back too far, then we get no knee over toe, and a lot of pain in our groin. We get the step back too close, then we get the rounding in the back and too much, knee over toe. Or we get the way too shoulders back, almost like you're backwards, and we're stepping back like this, and we don't get down whatsoever at all. So what is our form? So what does our form look like? Let's do this without dumbbells. Our form from the side should be this. We're lowering ourselves down by our knee traveling over our toe while we're pushing the other hip extended back and reaching and naturally letting our knees bend, our back knee bend while performing the movement. So, being here, when we're taking a step back, remember we're shifting our weight. So when we walk, we shift from hip to hip to hip. Common mistakes when we're doing a lunge is we don't shift the weight at all. We do this and the weight stays on one side and we end up falling over. We want to make sure that when we take that step back that we are shifting the weight to the glute that's being worked or to the leg that's being worked. So from here, I'm shifting my weight, pushing myself back, and knees going over toe and stepping right back. Now it looks like this. From here, shoulders back away from the ears, taking a step back, knee is pushing forward, staying over top. My chest is over top my knee. I'm not bent like this. I'm not bent to I'm not too far back like this. My back knee is naturally flexed, and I'm pushing back up, stepping to the other side. So from the front, just taking a step back, staying on the same side, stepping back, making sure our foot doesn't cross on the other side, shifting weight to the left side or the leg is being worked, chest staying nice and high, pushing back up to the other side, and then doing it the opposite side. Now you can do these alternating or one at a time. Either way, the fundamentals stay the same. The form is knee over toe, knee not touching the floor, chest up, shoulders back away from your ears, looking straight ahead, loading the glute, then pushing back up to the opposite leg, and then continuing again. So remember, the opposite leg, the hip will be extended. A lot of times we have this, and then we have the hip still buckled underneath, and we have this going on. Even with good knee over toe, we have a rounded back. And coming up, we want to have the opposite hip extended. So we're reaching back and pushing up. Making sure that this doesn't curl underneath, because we get a lot of this and a lot of pushing, and we've taken away from the opposite leg, and we've loaded the other leg incorrectly. Now, once we got our form under control, now we have to understand the next common mistake, which is always range of motion. In a reverse dumbbell lunge is simply a few things. Number one, common mistake in range of motion is stepping back way too far, chest is up, coming only down to 90 degrees, too much weight is on the opposite leg, we're up like this, and then we stand up. I get that type of range of motion, or we get the range of motion where we're down and the knee touches the ground, and then we're back up. And we want to avoid that. Our range of motion is based on the knee traveling over the toe, and that foot reaching back, and then getting a good amount of knee flexion in the front leg. So the front leg would look like this. All the way down, knee driving over toe, nice stretch, and my knee is not touching the ground. And up. There's your range of motion. Stepping back, back knee is bending, front knee is bending, knee is going over toe, hip and knee flexion complete. This is your range of motion, knee not touching the floor, and then using this leg to push back up to the top. There is your range of motion. Most of you guys are getting enough greens in your daily diet. I don't mean these greens. I mean these greens. Blue Star Nutraceuticals Roughage. Just a quick and easy way to get your daily essential vitamins, minerals, and fiber. And on top of that, it tastes amazing. So guys, hit the description below and use my code JOTTY10 for your next order of Roughage now. Now we have our setup. We have our form. We have a range of motion. Where else can we go wrong? Well, all the time, it's in the time under tension. And what part of the contraction are we focusing on when we're doing reverse lunges? What have I seen in terms of time under tension? Well, number one, we use these as an aerobic movement. We're just down and we're up. We're down and we're up. We're down, we're pushing the back leg, up and the back leg's doing all the work, and we're here. We get that fast one. Or we get the drop and then the squeeze. We get the drop and then the squeeze. Or we don't get anything else. That's it. I've never seen somebody do any kind of lunge slow. Never. And if you see that person, they work really hard or they're crazy. Or both.
Okay.
What does our time under tension look like? And what part of this lift is going to give us the most amount of hypertrophy? Well, it's going to be the lowering to the ground and that nice stretch at the bottom of the lift where our hip and knee are flexed the most, and then driving out of that and standing back up. So your time under tension should be focusing on lowering to the ground, controlled as much as you can. Slowly. From here, pushing yourself back, down, and when those knees hit the ground, use that back leg to help lower you, get that full stretch, and then up. Other side, sit back, down nice and slow, stretch, and up. If you're doing it one at a time, same thing. One leg at a time, stretch, and drive up. Then do it again, stretch all the way down, and then up. And the last common mistake is obviously it's going to be the amount of weight you're using. Now, not too many people I've seen really drive the ego in lunges. If anything, it's either using way too less weight, no weight, or then you got some of them guys just using way too much weight and they look absolutely ridiculous. Point is, we want to choose a weight where we can get the most amount of hypertrophy, meaning we want the sets to be long. We want the range of motion to be great, and we want the time under tension to be consistent the entire way through. So the only way to achieve that is by getting a weight that you can achieve the reps within the rep range. You're going to use a load that's going to challenge you, but you can be consistent with those fundamentals. So if you have a rep range of 10 to 15 reps each leg, or 10 to 20 reps, or 5 to, doesn't really matter. What matters is if you can't do the minimum amount of reps to start off, it is too heavy. If you can do more than the max amount of reps that are required, then it's too light. So while you're warming up, you're going to grab a weight that is going to challenge you enough to be able to do the minimum to the max. Super simple. So let's put this all together. All right, we are now setting up. Our setup, number one, our feet may be naturally where they are if we were walking down the street, but no dumbbells. But regardless, we're in the gym. So loading the one side, load the left hip, step back, extending that back leg, chest staying up, knee going over the toe, riding it down. Don't let that back leg touch the ground, and then pushing straight up to the other leg. If we are doing alternating, we're gonna load the other leg the exact same way. Chest is gonna stay up and pushing up. If we're doing one leg at a time, we're gonna keep that load on the left leg the entire time. Then pushing back up, and then back down again, letting the knee go over the toe, keeping the entire foot planted. Back leg or hip will be extended, chest will be up, shoulders to the side or back with the ears, standing back up. And say the other side will be the exact same way, pushing up. So where does this go in terms of your leg routine? I would maybe put it on a day where you're focusing on glutes, but it's a great glute and quad builder. But let's say 3 to 4 hard sets, about 10 to 15 reps, 2 second negative, 1 second pause in the stretch portion of the lift, then a 1 second positive contraction. If we want to get that much more of a stretch in terms of hip and deflection, we can elevate this entire movement by just adding a riser. And that is going to give us a little bit more range of motion all the way down, but guess what? The rules still apply to this. Don't change a thing. The only thing different is you're elevating the front foot by 1 riser. All right, that is it for today's video, guys. If you use those 5 fundamentals to help avoid those 5 common mistakes, let me know in the comment section below. And guys, make sure you guys get my ebook, The Final Diet, and the Ultimate Push-Pull Leg Train ebook is in the link in the description below. Until next time, guys, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.